Okay, hey everyone, I think we're 2 minutes into the meeting. So this meeting is recorded. Thank you all for joining the Computer Computing Consortium Outreach Committee meeting for April 30th. Let's give just a minute for others to join. I think we have 10 people overall. We should have a good number of folks here. So let's go ahead and get started. So as always, I want to move on to next slide, Rianne. Great.
Do you want to run with this, or should I do the first introductions of the?
Yeah, and feel free to chime in, Rianne. So this is what Computer Computing Consortium is about, and this is a community focused on open source license projects securing data in use and accelerating the adoption of computer computing through open collaboration. So every member is welcome. We would love to see projects being presented throughout those meetings of very transparent, collaborative communities. And then this is a hassle-free environment. So this meeting is governed by the Linux Foundation antitrust policy. And if you are unfamiliar with it, you can find more information at linuxfoundation.org/antitrust-policy, or feel free to reach out to me or Rianne for other details. So our goal is to support the data protection and adoption of computer computing technologies and making sure that this is a transparent, collaborative, and hassle-free space for everyone. Um, Thanks, Brianne. So this is all the agenda for today. Are there any additions or changes anyone would like to propose before we proceed?
Hey, Rachel, it's Mike. I got a update from IDC on the research proposal. I haven't had a chance to open it yet, but I don't think we've got time to do a review of it in today's agenda, but it's in and it's moving forward. Things are moving forward.
Yeah, that's great, Mike. So I have that IDC update as part of the announcement. So yeah, let's
Oh,
please go
okay.
ahead and just share the brief update so far, and once we reach that. So here is a slide. So Mike Friend Jones and I wanted to kind of add a slide, and thanks Rianne and Ranu for making the slide. And this is basically kind of give us a role and really kind of help the members here and to understand like what our roles are, so we can better facilitate you. And so let us know if you have any questions on like, who does what, so we can best help with your projects or your business. Angela,
Hi,
I
Rick.
see you have a hand up.
Yeah, sorry. So just one comment on the agenda. So we did report the social media metrics last meeting, and then since this is the third meeting of the month, and we're still not at the end, we're approaching May now, so we're going to push the social media metrics to the next session, and then the one after that will be on the website analytics. So this time I'll just be providing updates on mascots and other design assets.
Yeah, and thanks for the heads up. Yes, and so I have that as part of the social media metrics. So it will be mascot update, and then also the badge, CCC badge,
Right.
membership badge update. So I have these under the social media metrics. Yes, so I'm aware
Okay.
that is still in April, but I appreciate the heads up there.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, so if there's no other additions or changes, then we can continue as planned. So anyone here who is a new member joining us today, and if so, we'd love to have you introduce yourself, share your background, and let us know what brings you to the outreach committee. Is there
I would
any new members
also,
here today?
sorry to interrupt. I would also maybe whoever's hanging out on the loading dock, if you could go on mute, that would be amazing. Thank you. Sorry, Rachel.
Hey Rachel, this is Abby Halder with Mainsail Industries. Mainsail Industries is new to the Confidential Computing Consortium and Linux Foundation, and we're really excited to be here. So I'm just one of my first of many meetings. Share my camera quick and just say hello. Hello to everyone. Good morning. Mainsail Industries is doing confidential computing uniquely with our virtualization platform. Um, and we're really excited to be part of this community and look forward to contributing. So,
Yeah, awesome. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Abby, for joining.
Welcome, Abby.
so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and feel free to let us know, and if there's anything that we can help you with, and anything, any interest or topic areas you would like to get involved, and so then we can better coordinate from there.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I see Dan Brown on here. I owe you guys a couple things as we're onboarding. So
Awesome,
more to
awesome. Thanks
follow.
so much
Thank
for
you.
helping out.
Mhm.
Yep, you're welcome. And welcome again, Abby. I really appreciate and I look forward to your participation. And if there's no other new members today, and let me know. But if there's anyone else who's joining, and please feel free to introduce yourself. Okay, so moving on to next. Um, the next is
Roll.
approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Okay, I already heard approval. Do we have a quorum for this meeting?
No, we do not. And I have not received any updates or corrections. So if there is no objections, I think we can resolve the approval.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Brianne. So we're good on this, and moving on to next. And so here are a couple announcements I have. And first announcement is the CCC job board. So this is a regular announcement, and just wanted to amplify that CCC has a job board page where members can post their jobs on the site. Rianne, can you share the link? If you don't have the link, I can share it in the chat. So here's the job board link. And please feel free to take advantage of this opportunity, and then post any job openings you have. And to post a job, and please feel free to reach out to the Linux Foundation PM staff. And you can also join the conversation on Slack in hashtag competition computing jobs. We have a Slack channel dedicated for job board, and so please participate, and then let us know if anything I can help you with. So the second update is IDC white paper. So Mike, I'll defer that to you to provide the latest updates.
Yes, so we met with IDC, I think in the gap between this meeting and the last meeting, and reviewed now that we've got all of the contract signed and everything else in place, we are ready to start proceeding with the research. I think everyone here, I don't know if your folks are familiar with what the mission of this research is. We're going to be working on trying to assess the market awareness and understanding of confidential computing, the attractiveness of various usage models and value propositions, and kind of understand a little bit more about our customers' viewpoint on the technology and identify opportunities for us to connect confidential computing value to the needs that they're perceiving. So status report, we've got contract signed, we are funded, and we are in the process of designing the survey instrument. Rachel, if we have time or folks are interested, I have thrown the note that I got from IDC was essentially a rough construction of what the survey would be, the topics that it would cover. If threw those onto a couple slides, if we want to take a look at those real fast, if there's time.
Yeah, and Mike, can you share that in the chat, and so then like members can just look at initially, and maybe we don't have time to review that in this meeting, but
Okay.
that could be added as meeting minutes, and so then members can read this offline and provide the feedback and inputs.
Okay. Will do.
Awesome. Any questions on IDC white paper?
Hi, sorry, I just have a quick question. First of all, celebrating the presence of Abby and Mainsail, and also saying hi to Angela. We haven't met in Zoom. Mike, thank you for the update. I think it would be helpful to see the slides. It is my understanding that the research is going to be more focused externally to the Confidential Computing Consortium, and not necessarily how our members use the technology.
Oh, Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Got it.
Yeah, it's we're all here because we love confidential computing. And so no, this is what we're trying to do is get a much better reading on either what are the usage models and the value propositions that seem to really resonate, what is our level of awareness, do we how big is our awareness gap problem, and then other use cases that folks may either just not be aware that confidential computing can be used in, and what is their are they intrigued by those things?
Right, and I'm sure the agenda would have more clarifying a clarifying scope about the research, but is this focused on emerging markets or confidential computing in use, or both?
Yeah, so can you, Rian, can you move on to next slide? I have the survey scope. So I think this is before you joined. And so I think before um, this was proposed last year, and we as the community and then approve the scope of the survey, and then we reach out to all the member companies and for their input. And so this is the survey scope that was decided, and then on the right hand side, and that's the country that was ultimately determined. So this year we're fully on execution mode and executing based on the plans that was approved last year. But if you have any additional changes or any feedback, and then please feel free to let us know in the scope of the survey. But because of contractual obligation, we could only limit the scope to the survey scope listed here and in the countries and I pre-identified. Did that answer your question?
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions or feedback? And Mike, and then are you sharing the slide deck?
I'm process of putting them into the
Okay,
chat
great.
as we speak.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mike. So that's the update on the IDC white paper. Thank you so much, Mike, Farron Jones, and Rianne for driving this. Really appreciate your follow through with IDC. And we also reviewed the IDC white paper with governing board, and then during last governing board meeting, and then we had the feedback also to really follow up on the progress and make sure that the contract and has been met. So if you move on to next slide and the slide after, Rian. Yeah, so here is a tracking for your reference for your full transparency. And we've kicked off the project on April 21st, and that was week 1. And we're on track of the project status. And so timeline wise, and we're good. And then we also look into the program survey and a conduct survey and analysis of data for the following weeks. So Mike Farron Jones has been driving that. So look forward to getting members' feedback and insights. So IDC does rely on CCC's input and in some of those critical milestones. So we'll communicate with the community here once we reach those milestones where IDC has dependency on us. So Mike Farron Jones just shared the screenshot in the chat, and please feel free to take a look. And we'll also send it out after the meeting as part of the meeting minutes and for you to consume offline. So that's a topic on IDC white paper. So we can go back to the announcements slide, Rianne. Thank you. And so for the upcoming events, and this week is RSAC. I'm currently at the RSAC, so been helping out with the booth. And so for RSAC, and the CCC is hosting a booth this week and featuring double the space and enhance the setup to showcase a broader range of member projects and initiatives in confidential computing. So this year, a large number of members are presenting their projects and products. This include Anjuna, Fortenix, Hushmash, IBM, Intel, Embry Linux Foundation, NVIDIA, and TikTok. And we invite you to stop by the CCC booth at the RSAC to learn more about computational computing and how you can get involved. I would also wanted to thank you so much for all the members who participated in this, and we look forward to even greater participation in the next event. So that is an update for RSAC, and we will post the pictures of the events and help amplify those member projects in CCC newsletter as well after RSAC. So the next event we have is the Computational Computing Summit. So we've submitted all the speakers that were selected, and for CCC sponsor content during the CC Summit. And so currently, their organizer are putting everything together. And also, I want to thank you, App, for and calling out that the brand assets that they had on the website was not updated. And Angela and Dan's team, they've done a great job of providing the brand assets in the past. So I don't know why they did not refresh the brand logo. And so thank you so much for calling that out. And our team has already reminded them again on refreshing the updated logo assets. So that's kind of the update for the Computational Community Summit. And we will send out more information to the speakers whose talk was selected, and stay tuned for that. And another opportunity we have is Computational Computing Mini Summit. And again, we also sent out the speaker announcements to those whose talks were selected. And so please prepare for these, and we'll send out logistics for how you can get involved and as speaker during this event. If you want to participate as regular attendees, and please feel free to let us know as well. And because Computational Computing Mini Summit is a Linux Foundation hosted event, so we have a lot more flexibility and to really kind of arrange in those attendance from the CCC. And so that's the update for Computational Computing Mini Summit. And another event we have coming up is AI Infra Summit. It's going to be later this year. So the contract is already in progress, and Rianne's working with Renew to make sure the contract is getting signed. And we've also kicked off the planning for this event. So we have two major tracks going on. One is enterprise track, the other one is a panel. And so I'll send out the details and for us to select who would like to be participating in this AI Infra Summit. And so that's the all the updates for the upcoming events. And for the CCC monthly newsletter, and thank you so much, Angela and Dan, for putting this month's newsletter together. And so our committee have submitted all the content, and then thanks to members' content submission as well. And so this month's newsletter will be published by today, and we're also calling for content submission for the future months. And so you can schedule your content throughout this year in the specific month. Angela, yes.
Yes, I think the other sections are all ready. We're just pending on the ED section by Mike Purcell.
Yeah, and Mike is at the booth during RSAC, and I'll just ping him to complete that as soon as possible. And
Okay.
and let me know if you don't receive that by noon, so I can like help escalate this, because Mike and I are at the same booth in CCC booth. And here is
Yeah.
the form. So I just linked the form in the chat where you can submit the content and schedule your content for the CCC monthly newsletter. And another way to really kind of showcase your work is through CCC blog submission. And I'll also paste the form here. Okay, any questions so far before we move on?
I think I'll just throw in a reminder to folks that the newsletter and the CCC social posts are complementary to everything. So I mean, whenever you're it never hurts to have free outlets that are more than willing to take your announcements, news, other things that promote the expansion of the confidential computing category and use cases. So I just want to encourage everybody to when there's news from your company, just go ahead and get it on the channels.
Yeah, thank you for that information, Mike. That's really helpful. So moving on, and for Wikipedia and outreach metrics, and then I'll defer that to Mike and then see if there's any new updates. It's okay if there's not.
No updates. The content on Wikipedia has been stable. If you give me a minute, I could do a quick look at how we are doing in terms of visitors. All right, why don't you go ahead and keep going, and I'll get it here in just a second.
Yeah, and so for the outreach metrics, and then Mike, feel free to chime in. So for outreach metrics, we have the banner and add the RSAC booth into as the first kind of experiment to see how we can track those engagement from the audience. And so last year we had like flyers, and then it wouldn't be able to kind of track those engagement. But this year, and then Mike proposed to have event QR code and as part of the banner. So we've been really kind of engaging the audience and potential leads and to scan the QR code and learn more about CCC, and so then convert those traffic to digital footprint. And so we'll be able to see those insights after the event concludes, and I'll share some of the updates for the outreach metrics. So this is really great starting point for our measurement of those different events and efforts that we put in the outreach committee, and I'll definitely expand further onto other milestones. So that is the update for outreach metrics. And Mike, do you have anything you would like to add?
Nope, I think we're all curious to see how this is going to work out on with RSA as our first run through of this method, and so we'll learn a lot.
Yeah, awesome. Great work there. And moving on to next slide, there's nothing else to be added.
Just I did Wikipedia page visits in the last 30 days, 1,648. And only about 8 of those are me.
So who are making those edits then? Was it other than you?
There are various folks. I mean, some of them are automated Wikipedia, like they have a bot that crawls through all the articles and takes out dead links or cleans up citations and things like that. But the big edit, what is either an edit war or a debate amongst us and other folks who are editing, are usually folks in academia that have a particular viewpoint that they want to promote, and we have a discussion about that.
I see. Yeah, thanks for sharing that information. Okay, and then
my
on to marketing.
slideshare died on me. Give me a moment. Oh, I've lost my slides. Sorry for being the blocker here. Oh, the slides are back in a moment. Share. Stop share. Sorry about that. There we are. Let's move forward to marketing, Angela. Thank you very much.
Cool. I'll just provide a quick update on the marketing items. So good news, we have our initial drafts for the mascot ready. We have 2 options right here. So just wondering, how do we want to move this forward? Do we want to vote or provide any feedback from the community? So open for discussion for this.
I like a vote. I mean, oh, armadillo.
Are we doing the live vote, or is there like a voting period, like a
I
week
think
or a week?
I think it's good to have a little discussion because I think it would be good to have just hear folks' thoughts on things. I think that'll inform people's critique.
Yeah, if this is not something that we're looking for, that's totally fine as well. We're just gonna take any feedbacks that y'all have, and then we're gonna give it back to the design team, and then we'll provide another draft.
I mean, my first thought is the red eye on option 2 is a little horrifying. So although I like the correctly oriented C on option 2. So if I could, I would probably, if I had to pick, I would lean toward option 1 with the correctly oriented C.
Some just again subjective personal opinion. I think that yeah, for me it's option 1. Just it's more looks more friendly. Kind of a cyborg looking option 2 is a little bit less. The color scheme as well, in my opinion, for option 1 is kind of look more like friendly. Just the overall, again, all these are subjective assessments. Actually, on the logo, on the badge or the logo, the C, yes, it is the C itself. But what I like it's on the option 1, it's the fact that it has. It's almost why not we just take the whole like the confidential computing like the C, the triple kind of C with the key at the middle in the middle. We just do it there on option, like whether it's option 1 or option 2. Is there a reason, like, or is it just too?
I was thinking the same thing, but I bet what the designer will tell you is that when you shrink that the concentric C's in the logo down to fit in that space, you're going to lose you're going to lose
the
that
details.
detail. Yeah. So
Makes sense.
but I would be interested in seeing what it looked like.
Yeah. But I think yeah, just maybe by email, opening like a voting period for feedback / for voting period for people for others who might not have joined the call today. That'll be my suggestion.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree. So for the feedback and so the voting period, I would also suggest um, like incorporating like members' feedback as well. So not just choosing between option 1, 2, and also collecting all the feedback.
Okay, and in terms of voting, Rian, is this something that you can help with? Or do you need my help on that as well?
We can organize a vote. Just one feedback from my side is the CNCF deaf and hard of hearing working group have a very similar logo or mascot that we might want to have a look at. The colors are different, but it's very similar looking. So just maybe take a note of that.
So which
Okay.
one, Jan?
The CNCF, deaf and hard of hearing working group.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
And just a quick question, like, are we trying to match the mascots color palette with the CCC brand logos color palette?
I don't think it was being mentioned in the questionnaire, but if this is something that that we want to consider, I can definitely bring this to the creative service too.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if what's like the um industry standard for mascots color palette if that needs to be matched with the logo.
If we'd like it to match with the logo's color palette, then option 2 probably would be the closest one. We can certainly work on something like that, but just get rid of the red eye and then maybe work around a little bit on the badge thing at the front. But yeah, curious to hear more feedback from the community too.
I don't think there's necessarily a kind of approach to this. Some mascots don't, unless it's like a major where you see it often is in sports, like teams and so on. But in the industry, you can see everything. I think I think it depends on the execution. With the new color palette, it's quite. I mean, even before, but now even more so. The logo is a kind of series of gradient, of blue and red-ish kind of. Yeah, yeah. The option to the benefit, it's the colors are there, so you can't miss it. I think, as I said, except for I agree with Mike, except for the red eye. That one is frankly a little bit creepy, but at least my opinion. Other than that, I think it's yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Cause like if that's because I kind of see where like option 2 is going. Like if it's kind of like wanted to match with the color scheme we have in the brand logo assets, but at the same time it's not the like gradient color that is in the logo. So maybe if that is intention behind it, and yeah, make sure that it is kind of similar to the gradient color in the logo, or just more kind of natural transition color. But if that's not required, then yeah, I mean, okay with like whatever color that is best for this mascot.
Yeah, and I think the last thing, the reason I like number one, I'm a little more than a little bit colorblind, and 2, I have terrible taste. But in addition to that, I think the really high contrast colors between in option 2, I find actually kind of jarring. It's honestly, it's something that I would do because I'm colorblind and I have terrible taste. I think number 1 is a little bit more the lower contrast, I think, is a little more pleasing to look at, is my
To me, it's more
assessment.
friendly.
Yeah.
It's almost like superhero for option 2 kind of unit.
Yeah, it's a bit Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's good to put it for a period of feedbacks and vote for members and go from there.
And will you do the updates according to the asks from this meeting, then share that, and then we'll share that out with the minutes and say, okay, here's the options. We'd like some opinions. So just first do a bit of a cleanup like the eye and logos.
Okay. What would be the timeline for us to get the feedback from the larger group?
From previous experience, don't make it long.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say give it, let's put it up in the next couple days. Have a feedback period and a decision, and make the decision in the next meeting 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I second that.
Sounds
Yeah.
cool. I'll reach out to you, Rian, after this meeting then
Okay.
to see how the survey's gonna go out and stuff. Okay, cool. And then the next slide, please. Nothing new from here. We're just still waiting for design from the design team for these 2 logos. The design team are currently pretty packed with all the events and stuff, so hopefully we'll get more info by the next meeting. And that's all from marketing.
So just a quick question. So I remember like so it was mentioned in the last meeting to have the design preview in this meeting. So do you have that?
No,
'Cause I was
so
asking-
so we created the tickets before our last meeting, and then that was the original timeline that we got. But then it's been pretty busy for the design team because there's a lot of events happening. So that process is being postponed a little bit. So hopefully we'll get more info and get a draft by the next meeting. But we'll follow up again.
Yeah, and thank you for following up. And can you please work with the design team to give us a timeline on when they can um, provide like a design preview to us, so that could keep us and on track of the timeline here, because it was supposed to be shared on this meeting. I want to make sure that it's like we're executing towards that target date.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Angela.
for sure.
Ab, go ahead. Sorry, I think
Yeah,
you
so
have.
very, very quickly. So for the member badge program, Rihanna said, and I know it was yesterday, I sent you a note with one of the, I don't know if it's been discussed, I apologize, I wasn't on the last meeting. The feedback from Linux Foundation legal team on previous experience or with badge programs and so on. So if it has been discussed, I'll look at the notes. Sorry, a little bit, I was traveling.
No, there's a legal ticket open for that. Renew have the access to the legal desk, so I can follow up with Renew and just check if there was anything. Unfortunately, legal has you know how legal questions go. They get slow to be answered unless you have some expediting fee like we have for the events, and this type of thing doesn't have an expediting option.
Okay.
I'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's for all the marketing updates. And anything else that you would like to share, Angela? If not, then we can move on to events and outreach budgetary update.
Yeah, that's all from me. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So Rianne, I'll have you share the updates for the budget.
Just a short update, everything the same as last week, except now you can see the actual numbers for we already paid IDC the first part of the deposit. Other than that, everything else is still on target.
Thanks for the update, Rianne. So for RSAC, I shared this in the announcement. I'm not going to repeat it here, but we have a list of a list of the companies that are participating in the booth, and then they've been showcasing their demos and projects, and we'll also amplify these in our social media and to really highlight the members' participation in projects. So thanks again. I hope this is a great opportunity for all of you who participated and at the RSAC CCC booth, and I hope you were able to get a lot of interest for your project or product. So moving on to next slide. And so this, again, I was also shared the update for that, so I'm just going to skip this slide. This is for the CC Mini Summit. And so for the OSFF, so Rianne, I wanted to see if we got any interest so far. So we reviewed this item with the governing board last time, and it was decided that if there are no commitments by members to host this event by April 30th, then we'll set this event aside and roll the budget over to next year.
From our side, we sent out a request to the governing board for showing interest, whether they want to participate and for how they want to participate, but nothing has been received. So I think if this committee doesn't have any other strong opinions, I think it would be worth a while to put this budget aside and count it back onto the budget.
Yep, sounds good. And so it would be a much wiser decision and to set this aside, and based on there have been no commitments to host this event, and then we can allocate the budget for next year on something that is giving us a higher ROI. Then move on to next slide.
Just to conclude there, I hear no objections, so I will adjust the budget for the next meeting.
Okay, thanks for that. So these are the event tracker for your reference, and we have a couple events coming up, and then Rianne again is working on the contract signing for AI Infra Summit, and so we're also gonna set aside the OSFF event, so that will roll out those budget for next year and for other initiatives. And so that concludes all the updates from event side. Any other business from the audience? If not, then we can conclude this meeting. And thank you again for all your time and insights. Look forward to meeting with you next time. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or comments in the meantime. And please provide update and feedback to the mascot, and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.